In Pakistan, residents of a village near the northwestern city of Peshawar took to the streets after 9 members of an anti-Taliban force were killed in an attack. Police said a group of militants stormed the militia chief's house in the village of Badaber, killing him and 8 relatives. Village residents say authorities are failing to protect their communities from armed extremists. In Kazakhstan, dozens of residents marched to the National Bank building in Almaty following the devaluation of the national currency, the tenge. The protesters chanted, "Hands off our money," and demanded the resignation of the bank's chairman. RFE's Kazakh service says the devaluation of about 20% on February 11th has led to price hikes for almost all consumer goods in Kazakhstan. In Afghanistan, a United Nations official said the world body is seeking more than $400 million to alleviate humanitarian suffering. Mark Bowden, the head of the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in Afghanistan, said that despite more than a decade of international and government development efforts, more than 5 million Afghans are in need of life-saving assistance. Bowden said the conflict between the Taliban and the Western-backed Afghan government remains the main cause of the poor access by millions of Afghans to health care and adequate food supplies. In Belarus, a Minsk court sentenced a man to 15 years in prison for murdering his ex-wife and dismembering her body. Konstantin Kozlau initially reported his former wife, the head of the Minsk Amateur Archery Club, was missing. He later confessed to strangling the woman after being confronted with evidence, including the testimony of their 4-year-old son. In Armenia, employees of the Yerevan metro system are protesting against what they regard as illegal deductions from their wages. Drivers and engineers say metro administrators reduced their January wages by 5 to 10% and transferred the money to privately owned pension funds. The employees, who are demanding reimbursement, say administrators took this step despite a constitutional court ruling that suspended such deductions. In Macedonia, the representative for media freedom for the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe spoke to reporters in Skopje at the end of a 3-day visit. Donja Mijatovic said she met with government officials to express concern that fines for defamation in a new media law could have a chilling effect on journalists. In Georgia, dozens of squatters demonstrated at the Ministry of Labor, Health, and Social Affairs to demand adequate housing. The protesters say that until their housing problem is resolved, they'll continue to squat at a former heart clinic in Tbilisi that is without electricity and a functioning sewage system. Government officials say the clinic building has been sold and they're assessing the needs of those living there. In Russia, activists presented a report on the environmental consequences of the Olympic Games in the Black Sea resort of Sochi. The activists also condemned a Krasnodar court ruling that environmental activist Yevgeny Vitishko had violated the terms of his suspended sentence and must serve 3 years in prison for destruction of property. Vitishko has been a vocal critic of the environmental damage caused by the massive construction undertaken for the Olympics. And that's the video roundup from Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty.